Hey friends, welcome or welcome back. My name is Shannon, and today we are going to continue with a series that I've been doing where I blame factors other than myself for book purchases that I've made. And today I'm going to blame Booktubers. Now, as I've said in previous videos, this is all in good fun. I am fully responsible for all my financial decisions and the books I bring into my collection, but we're just having a little bit of fun here. The first book that I was influenced into purchasing is Marriage by Susan Ferrier. I was influenced by Alana Estelle, and I was watching a video that Alana was doing, and my ears perked up the minute she started talking about this book and said that Susan Ferrier was a contemporary of Jane Austen. And I had never heard of this author before. I had never heard of this book. And so my ears immediately perked up, and I just knew that I had to have this book. And from what I understand, Ferrier has been called the Scottish Jane Austen. And this is Ferrier's first novel, published in 1818, a year after Jane Austen had passed away. And this tells the story of Lady Juliana, who rejects the man chosen by her father. He is rich, but he's old and ugly. And instead, she elopes with a handsome but poor soldier. And I'm sure this book is going to be some sort of commentary on marriage and the ramifications of choices for women that, that they have to make at that time. Do I marry for love or for money? And, when your whole existence is wrapped up in whether a man can support you or not so you don't die, what are the ramifications of your choices at the time? So we'll see. I haven't read it yet, but I was definitely influenced to purchase this book. Next, we have Freshwater for Flowers by Valerie Perrin, and this is translated from the French by Hildegard Serle. And I was influenced to purchase this by Alice from the Book Castle, and I just absolutely loved Alice's review of this book, and I just knew it was something that I wanted to read. Violette is the caretaker at a cemetery in a small town in France. Her daily life is lived to the rhythms of the hilarious and touching confidences of random visitors and her colleagues. Violette's routine is disrupted one day by the arrival of Police Chief Julian, wishing to deposit his mother's ashes on the gravesite of a complete stranger. The story of clandestine love of Julian's mother breaks through Violette's carefully constructed defenses to reveal the tragic loss of her daughter and her steely determination to find out the truth. And Alice just said that this was just such a lovely and beautiful story. I just knew that I wanted to experience it. Next is On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous by Ocean Vuong. And I was influenced to purchase this by Nathan at Nathan's Nook. And this book is written in epistolary form, so in the form of letters. And it's letters from a young Vietnamese American son to his illiterate mother. And from what I understand, this delves into identity, family, sexuality, class, love, and connection. The Coast Road by Alan Murrin, and I was influenced to purchase this by Ben at Ben Reads Good, and this is set in the 1990s Ireland when divorce is not yet legal, and we follow two women searching for independence. Set in 1994, The Coast Road tells the story of two women, Izzy, a housewife, and Colette, a poet. Colette left her husband and sons for a married man in Dublin. When she returns to her home in County Donegal to try to pick up the pieces of her old life, her husband, Sean, a successful businessman, denies her access to her children. The only way she can see them is with the help of a neighbor, Izzy, who acts as a go-between. Izzy also feels caught in troubled marriage. The friendship that develops between them will ultimately lead to a tragedy for one and freedom for the other. So I am really looking forward to reading this, and I do love the cover. Next is A Helping Hand by Celia Dale, and I was influenced to purchase this by Jasmine at Jasmine Reads, and even if she hadn't mentioned it, look at this cover. The cover probably would have made me buy it. Such a great cover. And this is a suburban domestic horror story following a middle-aged couple who like to offer a helping hand to lonely and wealthy old ladies. So Aunt Flo had recently lived with them until her death, and upon meeting Mrs. Finnegal on holiday, they offer to take her in as well so that she doesn't have to live with her resentful niece. And beneath the suburban net-curtained world of genteel respectability, however, lurks the much darker and chilling terror of greed and exploitation, deathly currents that are masked by polite conversation and cups of tea. Definitely sounds right up my alley, so looking forward to checking this one out. Next is Oblomov by Ivan Goncharov. Hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And this is translated from the Russian by David Magarshak. And I was influenced to purchase this by Nicole at Noteworthy Fiction. And this was published in 1859. We follow Oblomov, who is a young nobleman who is incapable of making any decisions or taking any significant actions. Ilya Ilyich Oblomov is a member of Russia's dying aristocracy, a man so lazy that he has given up his job in the civil service, neglected his books, insulted his friends, and found himself in debt. Too apathetic to do anything about his problems, he lives in a grubby, crumbling apartment, waited on by Zakhar, his equally idle servant. This is definitely a satire and critique of Russian society at the time, and then also symbolizing the decadence of the Russian nobility. And I really enjoyed Nicole's review of this book. She really enjoyed it. So I definitely, after she reviewed it, I picked it up, and I am very much looking forward to reading this. Next, I have two related books. The first one being The Bondwoman's Narrative by Hannah Crafts, and The Life and Times of Hannah Crafts, The True Story of the Bondwoman's Narrative by Greg Hecimovich. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, sorry. I was actually influenced to purchase these by Hannah at Hello Bookworm. She did an amazing review on the two of these books, and this book here, The Bondwoman's Narrative, the plot revolves around an escape from slavery in North Carolina, and this is possibly the first novel written by a Black woman in the United States. So what's fascinating about this book is that it was a discovered manuscript and not authenticated and published until 2002. And I believe it was found by Henry Louis Gates Jr. Scholars believe that this was written between 1853 and 1861 and could possibly predate two other earlier novels by Black women, those being Sketches from the Life of a Free Black by Harriet Wilson, which was published in 1859, and then Incidents of the Life of a Slave Girl by Harriet Jacobs, published in 1861. I do have the Harriet Jacobs book on my shelves. I haven't read it yet. So it is quite possible that this book here predates those two books by Black women. And Hecimovich's book tells about the amazing discovery of the manuscript by Henry Louis Gates Jr., his efforts to authenticate the manuscript, and Hecimovich's research to discover the author's real identity, because no one knew who actually wrote this book, and this is the research to discover who the actual author is. So really great review. I was so amazed by the story. I picked up both of these books, and I can't wait to check them out. Next is Picnic at Hanging Rock by Joan Lindsay, and I was influenced to purchase this by Catherine at The Constant Reader. And this is a classic Australian historical novel that tells the story of a group of boarding school girls who vanish at Hanging Rock in Victoria, Australia, while on a Valentine's Day picnic, and basically the effects that it has on the school and the local community. It was a cloudless summer day in the year 1900. Everyone at Appleyard College for Young Ladies agreed it was just right for a picnic at Hanging Rock. After lunch, a group of 3 girls climbed into the blaze of the afternoon sun, pressing on through the scrub into the shadows of the secluded volcanic outcropping, farther, higher, until at last they disappeared. They never returned. A beguiling landmark of Australian literature, it stands with Shirley Jackson's We Have Always Lived in the Castle, Daphne du Maurier's Rebecca, and Geoffrey Eugenides' The Virgin Suicides as a masterpiece of intrigue. Well, I mean, you compare this to Rebecca, We Have Always Lived in the Castle, and The Virgin Suicide, and you have me hooked. Next, we have The Mountains Sing, and I am not even going to try to pronounce this author's name. I did look it up, and I unfortunately was unable to correctly pronounce it, so I have that here on the screen. And I was influenced to purchase this by Ferrier at Bookstalgic, and this is a multi-generational tale of the Tran family set against the backdrop of the Vietnam War. Tran Dieu Lan, who was born in 1920, was forced to flee her family farm with her 6 children during the land reform as the communist government rose in the north. Years later, Ha Ngoc, her young granddaughter, Vuong, comes of age as her parents and uncles head off down Ho Chi Minh Trail to fight in a conflict that tore apart not just her beloved country, but also her family. So Farah had read this and absolutely loved it, and her review inspired me to purchase this book, and I have not read it yet, but I really do want to. And last, we have The Piano Tuner by Daniel Mason, and I was influenced to purchase this by Tristan from Tristan and the Classics, and this is not a classic, but he did do a really amazing review of this book, and this is a historical novel set in British occupied Burma, I believe. This tells the story of a British piano tuner sent deep into Burma in the 19th century. In October 1886, Edgar Drake received a strange request from the British War Office. He must leave his wife and his quiet life in London to travel to the jungles of Burma, where a rare Erard grand piano is in need of repair. The piano belongs to an army surgeon major whose unorthodox peacemaking methods, poetry, medicine, and now music, have brought a tentative quiet to the southern Shan states, but have elicited questions from his superiors. On his journey through Europe, the Red Sea, India, and into Burma, Edgar meets soldiers, mystics, bandits, and tale spinners, as well as an enchanting woman as elusive as the surgeon major. Sensual, lyrical, rich with passion and adventure, this is a hypnotic tale of myth, romance, and self-discovery. So that sounds really great, and from what I understand from Tristan's review, it's actually a quiet novel, and I lately, for some reason, have been enjoying quiet books. Kind of the all vibes, no plot type thing. I don't know if this is all vibes, no plot, but I do remember his review saying that it was kind of like a quiet novel, and I'm all on board with quiet novels these days, so I am looking forward to checking this out. So that is all I have for you today, a bunch of books that Booktubers made me buy. And part 1, I do have a whole separate list of more books that Booktubers made me buy, so that'll be coming eventually. Let me know if you've read any of these, any that I should prioritize. I would love to hear from you. Thank you so much for joining, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.